Let's get some input now from our expert panel here on what has taken place tonight. Paula Christian and Lisa Bernard-Kuhn are just two of our reporters here from WCPO on our digital side of the building. You guys have covered this issue closely. Does tonight's result surprise you at all from people you spoke to during this journey?
Very surprising. The experts that I've spoken to were, while they thought perhaps it would lose, they never expected a margin like this. Basically, they're thinking there were virtually no supporters that came out to lose at a margin like this.
All right, and I'm just getting in my ear, actually, the Associated Press calling issue 2 now, saying issue 2 has passed. And that was kind of the anti-issue 3 all along. Both sides seem to have kind of equal ads on the air. You couldn't escape this issue from either side.
Absolutely. And what seemed to really take hold and work against issue 3 is this monopoly piece, this idea that, you know, Ohio voters would be adopting into their state constitution a business model for marijuana. And you saw national groups across the country speaking out against this plan, groups who are pro-marijuana legalization, but calling this plan deeply flawed for Ohio, deeply flawed for the marijuana industry. And that's what really seemed to take hold in the later part of the campaign on each side.
And also the polling numbers, we had several polls in the state which put the issue much closer, put almost equal support for and against, but what was missing on those polling questions was the word monopoly. They did not use that language, and that clearly voters did not like that word.
And that can happen a lot with polls. It's all in the verbiage and those questions and the results that you get, because if you're looking at the results that we're seeing tonight, it's basically a 2-to-1 margin against legalizing marijuana. Now, this may not be the end of marijuana in the Buckeye State. You're connected in the sense that you've been interviewing these folks. Responsible Ohio saying this isn't over.
Well, I'm not sure about that. What I'm hearing is medicinal marijuana might come back next year very clearly in Ohio. It might, there's some efforts afoot maybe in the lawmaker side of things to bring just medicinal marijuana forward and not recreational marijuana, because clearly the voters did not support it.
Sure.
And early on in Responsible Ohio's campaign, Ian James told us if they were to fail this time around, that they would be back in 2016, as early as 2016. And to Paula's point, I think you might see a different approach here given what we've seen with voter turnout today. And the other thing to consider, however, is there's a lot of money that's been put into this campaign. So a lot at stake for those who supported this. And it's going to be interesting to see, you know, how quickly they might act to try to leverage any kind of win that they think they might have landed somehow today.
Because when you're looking at the investors that were part of these 10 different sites across the state, you're looking at $2 million buy-ins and the amount of money that they were able to amass. It may not be there if medical marijuana is only pushed next time. I mean, obviously we can't answer those questions right now, but Ohio was the first state to go this route. In your reporting, was there ever a justification of why they wanted to be kind of the first and push this all at once, or did they have concerns that this may not go through because we're trying to do both?
I think most of the money is in the recreational side, so that could have been a reason. The folks in the industry across the nation did not like this proposal, and you know, traditionally medical marijuana has always come first in states, and so critics are saying they tried to take too big of a bite of the apple and they ended up with nothing.
Right.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what, you know, I've heard, is that it was too much too fast for Ohio. The money to support the campaign, the idea for the framework for the 10 growth sites, that was all funded by, you know, these 10 investors, and so that's your reason for medical and recreational at the same time. They needed money to support a campaign, and they had an idea in mind for the kind of businesses they wanted to launch.
One of the folks I spoke to, a UC political science professor, said the one good thing about losing so badly is that these responsible Ohio folks can go to sleep easily tonight knowing there's nothing they could have done to win. There wasn't a small mistake. They just overwhelmingly lost.
It's not an issue where 10 days from now we're battling over the provisional ballots, saying, okay, it could go either way still.
Yeah,
It's
clearly
clear
this
cut.
handful of Hamilton County voters made no difference at all. Keeping the polls open to 7:30 to 9, in the scheme of their loss, made no difference.
Well, I know on social media a lot of people were talking about wanting the medical marijuana, not necessarily recreational, and mixed reviews across the board. Some people said, let's just do it all. So I guess we'll see and find out next year if they're going to try to push it again. All right. Thank you so much, Paula and Lisa. And let's go over to Tanya right now.